What's up, everybody? We are back. Power, Season 6, Episode 11. Let's go!
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
I'm on the chorus right now. I don't know
Where
if I
y'all
hit my
energy
note.
at, though?
I know, right?
Back in the
You
building. 2020 vibes.
Are you bringing it low to pay your respects?
Oh,
Right,
man.
right.
Gotta
what it
pay
is.
our...
Let it burn, baby. Let it burn.
What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? I'm Bam Erickson. I'd like to introduce the panel.
I'm Jill Monroe.
What up, everybody? I'm Robin Ayers.
It's your man, Jimmy V.
And we have a special guest in the building. He is the original host for the Power AfterBuzz TV After
Yeah.
Show.
OG.
Please welcome back Thaddeus Massey.
That is.
That is.
Okay. So
Good to be back.
Let me give you a background of how this all happened. So Thaddeus and I, we met here at AfterBuzz TV. We started doing some shows together, and before Power came out, he calls me and he says, "Hey, I want you to do this after show with me for the show called Power." Thaddeus and Amari go back. They used to go on auditions together, and they were friends back in the day. And one of the movies that they auditioned for was Gridiron Gang with Dwayne. So.
The Rock.
With The Rock. So
I mean, we're just gonna drop first names.
yeah.
I don't have that
Yeah,
type of
yeah.
relationship.
So he asked me if I would do the after show. So I said, "Cool." Now, let me give you my background. I used to live in the Bay Area, and I did this. I was a background actor for this movie or TV show that Spike Lee did called Sucker Free City. So I go to the set to, do what I do. Super hot. I'm out in Hunters Point, and there was nowhere for me to sit to do my paperwork. So there's this guy wearing, I believe, a white do-rag, and asked me, "Do you want to do you need a place to sit to fill out your paperwork?" And then we started talking. He's like, "Hi, my name is Amari." So it was Amari Hardwick. So I never forgot that. So when he said, "Do I want to do the show for Power?" that I didn't really know what it is about, I just said sure because I was familiar with Amari from what he did back in the day before he became famous. So Thaddeus said, "Let's do this," because he was going to be the lead in this, and he was like, "I think this is, going to pop off, and this is going to really make Amari, be the star." So I just said, "Sure, I'll do it." I didn't know what Power was for.
Vision.
Okay.
The Bible says, "Without a vision, the people
6
perish."
years later,
So-
here we are.
And not only did he bring not only that, but we also did Empire together. He brought Orange is the New Black. He brought House of Cards. So.
And he also brought me to the show.
Yeah.
He brought me to Power, which I'm forever grateful for.
Yeah.
And so Thaddeus,
Yeah.
in case y'all ain't get it, Thaddeus is the
Yes.
man.
Yeah.
Okay. You got the juice now.
You got the juice now.
I also want to give a confession. When we first started doing Power, I hated Power.
Right.
Bro, the way you it sounds like
He
you
said
still
that
hate
with some
Power.
passion.
I love it.
I think the fans know that you hate Power.
I love Power. It's the
Just
best show on
Sasha.
TV. But back then, I hated the show. But anyway, now in regards to Who Shot Ghost, we didn't really get a chance to talk about this because Courtney was here. Am I the only one who doesn't care who shot Ghost?
I mean, before I saw this episode, I cared. But
You no longer
now
care?
I don't care. No.
I do.
Okay.
I
care.
do.
care.
And I think that is going to play a very pivotal part. The reason I care is because Power's not over, right? We know that it's going to have a spinoff and that it's going to matter. So that's the reason that I'm looking forward to finding out, because I know that somehow it's going to play into, the future.
So is he dead? Is he gone?
So
There's no Tupac going on.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
well,
Really?
I don't know if we said this on camera or off our camera, but I remember Courtney specifically said, "Don't ask me a bunch of questions about is Ghost dead." So I mean, because before she's like, "Oh, Angela's alive," she's really quick to say.
Well, what she says,
remem-
let's be clear.
Yeah.
What Courtney usually says is, "Did you see him die?"
Yeah.
Like, so she
Right,
won't
yeah.
feed into one way or the other. She's more so like, "We gave you what you need to see for now." So that's
I
pretty much
haven't
it.
seen a body, so I'm
Yeah,
just
I
saying
don't-
that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a body.
Do you think he's dead?
I mean, the only thing I can go off of is there's a few billboards and advertisements that said who.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you know what? I think it said who shot Ghost. I
Yeah.
don't think it said who
Yes.
killed
Yeah.
Ghost.
Right.
But in
So,
in the news
now I
report,
think about it. Yeah,
yeah.
and
they
then-
didn't confirm.
And then in
whether
the
or
news
not.
report,
In this episode,
it said that
we
he was
did hear
slain
that he was
and that he was
murdered.
murdered. But you know, so
I
have
just
theories.
don't feel like the writers would do the viewers like that, as far as like that's how you're gonna find out that Ghost is dead through a little
right,
10-second
like
clip
through a
on the
news
news
clip.
report.
Yeah.
I don't believe so. I think that, I mean, we have our own theories about what's gonna happen and how we'll find out one way or the other, but I don't think that that's gonna be the way that we find out that he's dead or not.
And as Courtney explained it, so these next 5 episodes are going to be through the perspectives of the 7 suspects of who potentially shot Ghost. So in last night's episode, it was all about Dre. The episode was actually titled "Still Dre." So we see Dre. Ironically, so it opens up with Dre holding his daughter Heaven.
My daughter.
While you take that breath, I'm gonna just say I did not like this episode. All right, guys,
Okay.
I'm gonna tell y'all straight up.
Okay.
I thought it was very fast. Okay. I thought my daughter. All right. The same old Dre, and just a lot of things was just out of line for me. Like,
Okay.
It felt weird watching it.
Okay. So Dre's holding his daughter Heaven, who I find so funny because either she's looking directly at the camera
Right.
or she's looking away where somebody's clearly telling her not to look at the camera. That's Petty Pablo. But moving forward, so he's singing this song called "Rise and Shine, Give God the Glory," right? So it's an old
hymn.
gospel hymn, and so he's singing this song while his baby's mom girlfriend Tina is trying to she's tired of this life and she wants him to
Leave.
get out. She wants him
Can
to
I
leave.
be a petty Pablo really
Yeah.
quick about Tina? Where was she when the daughter was in CPS custody? We know Dre was like, bump her, leaving. So her wanting to be a family seemed
Now.
strange to me. I just wonder what you didn't care that he was potentially going to leave you, took your child away and all this stuff. But
Excellent point.
run it
Once
back.
again, very out of the blue.
Yeah.
I don't think it was out of the blue for Tina's character, for her to be like that. But my problem with Tina is, you knew good and well who you were messing with. You knew that you were getting in bed with a drug dealer. So you can't then
He wasn't a drug dealer when they first had the baby. He was lower level.
Do we know?
Right, okay.
When they
We
first had the
don't,
baby?
but I mean, well, she's what, 4, 3,
but,
so.
but based on Mama, Dre's always been no good. He's been running the streets. He's been in and out of
okay.
jail.
Right,
But,
yeah.
but,
I thought they
but back-
alluded to that he was like a corner boy or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
That's
was.
when he-
Yeah.
Yeah, when they met.
To Jill's point though, and then also writing off what you said, Bam, like her character, Tina, right? Is
Yeah,
that
Tina,
it?
yeah.
Tina has no connection with Heaven, baby Heaven. Like she
Right. Doesn't even
every
know she's
scene,
alive.
it was like she was there, she was just not, she wasn't very maternal.
Yeah.
So, I'm like, where was she? She probably was, I don't know, she just didn't seem like the type. You know what I'm saying? She just wasn't very maternal. It was more just about him.
Which now I'll ask this question: what did you think about? Although we're moving forward, what did you think about when she had enough and she said, "I'm taking the baby," and he popped up and was like, "You ain't taking my daughter." Do you think that was a valid? Do you think he had a right to tell her that you can't take my child?
Well,
I mean, he's the
yeah,
father.
I mean,
he's-
but I think that's a normal thing within relationships. I mean, if one parent wants to have sole custody, like this just reminds me of the scene in The Pursuit of Happiness, right? The wife wanted to leave. I'm going. Never saw it. Lord, you need some
Fine, keep it going.
inspiration.
Oh,
but
snap. Okay.
but
Never
Will
saw what?
Smith was like, no, you're not taking
Pursuit of Happiness.
my daughter. No, my son. No way. So I feel like it's normal.
yeah,
thing.
but and
know.
also,
Yeah, go
just the fact that he had just gone through what he did. He had just lost his daughter, so
Yeah.
he's probably even more so like, no, I'm not about to take my kid.
I think he just had an emotional reaction.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
it was like everything surrounding Dre and him holding on and doing anything has been kind of, she's been the pivot point for him.
Yeah.
As far
For
as
my
everything,
daughter.
she's been involved.
for my daughter. I gotta do it for my daughter.
My daughter.
Right, yeah.
So, I mean, she got snatched up under his care. So he needs an opportunity to redeem himself as a father. And if she were to rip Heaven away from him, that would actually just be the nail in the coffin of him being an actual crappy dad, because now he doesn't have a chance to redeem himself.
Yeah.
Which was really heartbreaking at the end when she saw her at the end. That was really the worst. But yeah, so that's why he had that emotional reaction. I mean, I think any dad would kind of be like, no.
You ain't taking my kid, right?
So, so after that, Dre goes to Cooper because he finds out that that Ghost or James is running for lieutenant governor, and so he has a moment with him, and Cooper Sachs assures him that their deal is still on. Just if anybody has anything to say, say it. If not, we can move on to the next one.
I'm just mad he's still alive. Keep going.
Yeah.
Cooper Sachs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm mad he's still breathing.
Yeah, so Dre, Ozzy, and those other nigglets. He tells his crew he's waiting on the new product because he's done with the Serbians, Alicia Jimenez's crew, and they show up and they have a shootout. Hit it.
First of all, I'm tired of Dre using humans as shields.
But that
And let's-
was very Dre.
I mean,
like
it's very
Oz,
Dre, but also the type of machinery they're operating, can't those bullets pierce a body? Another petty point, but moving on.
Possibly.
I mean, it just shows who his character is. Dude was just like, I'm so happy you got out. Da 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 da. Now you're using him as a shield.
Yeah.
Can I just say? Can I just let me speak on the alternative real fast? If you were in the situation where somebody, I mean, here's the thing. That's his boy. I mean, I know he was bigging him up and he was all glad he was home and whatever. But for real, like, is that your boy? And if somebody was shooting at you, I'm not saying I would ever be in that situation or that I would do it. I'm just posing a question.
Yes.
If somebody was right there,
Yes.
would you too be like,
Yes.
let me put him
I'm not trying to
in front of me?
And on top of that, Ozzy's head was down, and you never put your head down in a gunfight.
So because you've been in a gunfight, man.
Well, he was
Listen,
already.
I ain't putting on
Dude
my
was
business.
dropping like flies, and dude was already hit.
Yeah.
So he was like, okay, I can either drag him out of here and potentially
Yes,
end
and
up dead
I
with
initially
him.
thought that he
or-
was dragging him to help him get
He
out.
was initially.
Yeah,
That's what
but
everybody
But then he
thought.
realized it was like,
Yeah, no, this is-
I'm
sorry,
not
bro.
dying. Yeah.
this is a whole shield.
Bye.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm just saying it's probably something most of us would have done.
Right.
You know, I
Right.
can't necessarily drag him for that.
So after he's hit in the shoulder, then he goes back to Tina, where Tina is stitching him up, and says that they need. He finally agrees to go to Vegas, and they need some money to get out of town. And she says, "Well, the only person we can go to is you know who." So now we step outside what appears to be a Baptist church, and we see Dre's mama come out, and we meet Dre's mother.
So a lot of people were very upset about how fast we found out about all of Dre's background on this episode.
Have they not been watching the whole season 6?
Well, I'm saying to this extent,
Okay.
you know, the fact that we didn't know about his mom, we didn't know all of that.
with
I
you.
personally,
I'm
and
okay
I
with
understand it, but I do personally like the fact that we got all this information about Dre on this episode, because if this is his perspective, if this is all about him, it kind of, like I was mentioning to you guys earlier, I think it lends itself to his storyline.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then almost, I know a lot of people been wanting Dre to die. Bam included. You killed him off a long time ago, but a lot of people have been wanting Dre to die. However, I just feel like even for those people, you want to root for him. Now that you find out about his background and the, you know, the, I guess, problems that he and his mom have had and all of the stuff, you kind of root for him a little bit more.
Right.
I don't feel
I
like you
wasn't
had.
trying to root.
Right, maybe not.
I don't feel like we had to know. I think it makes sense how it unfolded. He was in a desperate situation, his last ditch situation. She didn't even know he had a child. So
Yeah.
why would we have delved into that relationship or seen that? He had estranged himself from her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't.
to me, it made sense.
I agree. I don't feel like him. I don't feel like us knowing the backstory of his mom was important, because you have to remember, yes, there's a love-hate for the Dre character, but this show is about the relationship between Ghost, Tasha, and Tommy, the three of them. That's it. And then obviously Angela
Tasha.
coming in. Yeah.
So you're saying that it wasn't important even on this episode to
It
find
was
out?
it-
Oh,
well,
for this
yeah,
episode, it
but
was
but for
important.
people that wanted to know
Got
the
it,
information
yeah.
prior, no, you didn't. You
Yeah,
didn't to
I
know.
agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah.
I agree.
But for this, yes. Now what
it
I
also explains why he bonded so well with Tariq, because they have shared.
right.
They weren't from the streets, but they craved that street life for
Yeah.
whatever reason.
And they craved mentorship both
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
Ghost and
Rebels
attention
in
from
a way.
Ghost.
Yeah.
So he was kind of like a apprentice to Ghost. You know, you kind of felt that kind of Sith master apprentice
Absolutely.
relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Sensei.
then it went haywire, and Dre was the kind of character you kind of felt like was maybe gonna die early,
Yeah.
right? And then Rotimi's performance kept the writers inspired to keep
In
him
there, yeah,
in the storyline. So he's lasted to this point. Now you feel like, well, dang, what is it gonna be like without having this little rat around? Because now it feels kind of weird,
Yeah.
right? But I think it's important that they go back into every person who's a potential shooter,
Yeah.
Yeah.
to
backstory to actually find out, like, okay,
Their
who
real motive.
Yeah.
who was the person that actually, well, now we know that Dre didn't, but,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So
Real quick,
it makes sense.
Did you guys believe when he was pleading to his mom, and then he said, you know, I'm ashamed of the man that I've become? Did you guys actually believe that, or he was just really just trying to get what he needed?
I think he was trying to get what he wanted, and I'm gonna drag Mama later. So just hold on. I got a
You
lot
gonna
to
take
say.
off her wig and drag it? No.
I got a lot to say about Mama. So,
Right.
but before we do that, so now we also got to see the Tubit Spanky story, because now both of them are being coerced by Blanca to snitch and give information to Tom Egan. So in the beginning, none of them wanted to give up that information. So now I just wanted to mention that. Now we can go back to Dre. So he's asking his mom for the money. She says no, she's not having it. And then we have Dre and Tasha. So now Dre, since Mama won't give him the money, so now Dre's on this mission to try and see if he can get the money for them to go to Vegas. So he goes to Tasha. And what do you guys think about that scene?
Broke is broke, N-word.
Yeah. that pretty much summed it up for me. Like Tasha
Right.
said she doesn't have it, so now she had to get Tariq involved, and then from there, Dre had to go to Tariq. Tariq gave him, I think, 10. He gave him 10 grand.
10, yeah.
Promised that he will give him the other 10 by the end of the week. But then Dre wanted something, so now he needs to get to Ghost.
Wait, we're forgetting an important detail.
Tariq
Tariq asked
wanted-
a gun
Yes.
from Dre.
Mhm.
Now,
Yeah.
obviously, he never got it, but I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Those street
Which kinda
people after Tariq.
sets up what
Yeah.
ended up going down, but yeah.
I did think for a second when he asked for the gun, I'm like, oh, like, is that a piece of the story?
Right, right.
But then when Courtney said that was Angela's gun,
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I think in going back and looking at it, and there was a lot of discussion in the comments, I believe what she was saying was that the gun that Paz had is Angela's gun.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that the gun that shot Ghost.
you didn't.
was-
Oh, really? So I took that as the gun that shot Ghost. Was
I did
Angela's
too
gun. Okay.
that night, but I went back and watched because I saw a lot of conversation for it in
poetic,
the
actually.
comments.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it
Um,
was-
yeah.
If it was.
I mean,
Very,
it could
very.
be. We still don't know.
But it's not- it's
just in what she said. I could be wrong, but
Okay.
it sounded to me that she was just saying that the gun that Paz is in possession of is Angela's gun, which could be the gun that shot Ghost.
Yes.
But why would they highlight that? So it must be for a reason.
No,
Which-
they didn't highlight it on the show. When Courtney was here for episode 10, and she gave that little tidbit to us.
Oh, got you. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's going to come up at some point. I
Yeah.
just don't
So
know.
any comments with Dre and Tariq conversation? Okay. So then what about Dre and Ghost?
The scene was filmed a little differently. I mean, we know it's
You
from
could
his
tell.
perspective, but
Yeah.
the dialogue was slightly different.
Yeah, Ghost wasn't as
aggressive, yeah.
What's your take on how he tried to spin it around and say how he was so disappointed in him when Dre was
You had so much potential.
Really quickly, Kwame MB, what up, Kwame, in the chat room? He says, talk about Dre and Ghost conversation being different from Dre's perspective. Anybody?
Because here's the thing, you're talking about his backstory, right? So it's probably somewhat of a POV, his POV of his relationship with his mom, his daughter, baby mama, Ghost, Tariq, the whole nine. So you have a perspective that Dre thinks he's the man,
yes.
right?
right,
He's
right,
always
right.
wanted Ghost position. He always felt like he was the next up, right? He's been manipulating or attempting to manipulate a scenario where he's the distro this whole time. So of course, from his perspective, he's gonna walk in and boss up on Ghost. But in reality,
Ghost got his ass because Ghost got him arrested.
I think to that point when Ghost was going in and breaking Dre down and his mistakes and moves, I guess that's what Dre was taking as, I'm so disappointed in you or whatever. Because again, I didn't go back and look, but I feel like the dialogue was slightly different. So he's just hearing what he wants to hear, I assume.
Then didn't we see Ghost's perspective on
episode 10?
Right.
Yeah.
So
Didn't he him up against the wall?
Yes.
So it was So
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
he
what I'm
did,
saying.
didn't
We saw this play out already from Ghost's perspective.
right.
So yeah, okay.
And so he promises to give him $250,000 and says that I'll give it to you in an hour. We meet up, and then what happens is he goes and leaves, and he's eventually arrested. But before we go to that,
didn't he go to Tate before
yes,
he got arrested?
yes, he was going to Tate. But before that, we see more of Tubit and Spanky in the holding cell. Yeah, so we don't need to go about that. So now Dre goes to Tate. So Dre tells Tate that he's valuable information on the St. Patrick's, which is the Raymond Jones murder, and he'll tell if Tate can get him some fake IDs and some plates.
That's
Anything?
Really about it?
Yeah.
I mean, here
It is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of, remember I asked Courtney, did anybody team up? I still think there's another team up, but it's sort of interesting that Tate thought that it would enhance his position to have Ghost taken out, because it's like, what, then they're just gonna replace you with the next black guy up? I don't know. I kind of don't like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he embarrassed him, but
I mean, Tate seemed like he was up to something even when he was making the offer.
Yeah.
Which is really funny because he showed up and there was a gunshot.
Yeah.
So was Tate gonna handle it himself? Because when you want vengeance on somebody, sometimes you just want to do it yourself, right? And Tate is the kind of dude that will want to do something.
you think he needs
But
a
I,
scapegoat?
but I feel like
And then he wants to maybe pin it on Dre.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he wants to do it himself. He's like, yeah, here's the money. Go ahead. Blah,
Which-
blah, blah.
which-
Right.
But he
And then
didn't know what time Dre was going. That, I mean, I considered that, but Dre never said when.
He said, but
He knew he was doing it
didn't
the
they have
night
didn't
before.
they have the
He-
plates on the car already?
Real quick,
he gave
let's
him
just,
he gave him
let's
the
just
plates. Go ahead.
clarify, these were two different scenes, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
there were two different
Right.
scenes. So what happened was Tate, later on gave him the plates and the money and said, now you need to go and kill James. And he gave him the money without even knowing that he was going to do it or not. But he kind of,
No, he said, I've got
Yeah.
a life insurance policy,
Yeah,
knowing that I made you the plates.
known the plate, so he knew that he would go and do it. So to your point, it makes sense because I wondered, well, if Tate asked Dre to go and kill James, then why would Tate be the suspect? Why would he be one of the ones walking down the street with the
Right.
gun if, in fact, he actually had
Dre.
Maybe
on
he
the
was
job
going.
already.
He might have been going someplace else. We don't know what else he has.
Well,
going
maybe he
on.
wanted to
Yeah.
make sure it got done.
Yeah.
True.
For one, and secondly, maybe that was like the fall guy. It was like all a setup to begin with because this guy still has aspirations of a career, so he doesn't want to get his hands dirty.
Yeah.
So it's like, let me just make sure he's doing what I hired him to do,
Yeah.
and then or maybe he did it, and it was like Dre was there. I mean, Dre ran out, punched Blanca in the face.
Yeah.
Right,
So,
I mean,
so
Crazy.
just if I'm Tate and I want to make sure I keep my hands clean, I'm gonna stay far away.
That's
True.
what I
from the
feel like.
Yeah.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
We still have a perspective to watch of Tate, right?
Yeah.
So it's
True.
going to be
Yeah,
very
right,
interesting
right,
to see
yeah.
how that unfolds.
What he was really doing.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So Dre, so Dre gets arrested the first time,
Yo,
and so
he got
get-
arrested twice
Yes.
in one episode,
So
y'all.
he gets arrested, and Tubit and Spanky now they're registered. They're wearing their jumpsuits, and Ghost brings a phone to Tubit saying to kill Dre while he's in there. And so that doesn't happen because Dre winds up getting out,
Pulled by
Making
Blanca.
the deal.
pulled by Blanca because he then will now testify saying that he testified knowing or he witnessed that Ghost killed Terry Silver.
Yeah.
So from there, Dre gets out. Dre's in the car.
Oh my gosh.
Dre-
That
Oh my
whole
God.
Dre
next
Can I leave?
few.
Go ahead. Dre has to pee. Go.
Stupid ass scene. I'm sorry, this got me so mad. One, why isn't he handcuffed? All right, that was number one.
Right.
I mean, if they're transporting him, right? Two, if he's gonna let him go to the bathroom. Why aren't you watching him like your job is depending on it?
But he's with
Well,
Sick
let
at
me
this
say
point.
this.
Yeah.
So
Let
he
me-
doesn't need to be handcuffed.
That's what I was
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
say.
He
And
doesn't.
So
like,
they're, no,
yeah.
they're,
Yeah,
they're,
he's
they're
with
transporting
protection.
Yeah.
They're taking him to a safe house.
Yeah.
So
Right.
they didn't need to handcuff him because he's not.
So
safe.
he's not
what
in
she
custody
said was
like
exactly
that.
what it was. Our job is to make sure that you get there safely.
Correct.
It's not necessarily you're still under arrest or you're still,
He's not
detained
a-
or whatever.
yeah.
So that's why he
Yeah.
can go pee by himself.
Without
and-
nobody
Yeah.
looking.
Shout out to everybody in the chat. Make sure that you are hitting the thumbs
Oh,
up and liking it
yeah.
for us.
Boom.
230 people.
Wow.
Shout out to y'all in the chat. Hey,
Thank you.
happy New Year to everybody in the chat as well.
2020.
That part.
Let's
All
do
right.
it.
So
Kwame said, "Thank you, Jimmy." I don't know if that was for the
Alright.
shout out or whatever.
so after Dre leaves and flees, then we see him go to his mother's, where he uses the key in order to get into the house. Mama hears somebody break into her house. She pulls out a gun. Open discussion. Hit it.
I knew your wicked ass. What
Yo,
she say?
Yeah.
the devil, what a demon.
Don't come back.
You
Is
was a
this the
demon.
time?
Nice
Is
walk-in
this around
closet.
about the time, Bam, that you are going to drag Mama, or is
You
it
should just
another?
take it.
So
You should just take it.
so my problem with Mama.
She gonna get dragged a couple times.
Yeah.
Actually, go ahead.
Oh.
Later.
So
Yeah.
my problem with Mama, so she's this Bible thumping, scripture quoting,
But she's strapped up.
But my problem with her is Mama doesn't take responsibility for actions. So think about the conversation that they had in the closet. Dre talked about how you called me a demon ever since I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
You've always spoke negative to me.
Mm-hmm.
My problem with Mama is, and this is just what I think. I think that because we don't Dre's father was not in the picture.
That's what I was gonna
She's
say. Where's Dre's daddy?
she's angry. She's that lady. She's that mother who's angry at Dre because of the issue that she has with Dad. So every time he was a little boy, she kept calling him names because she saw Daddy. And now, hold on one second, Jill. And a scripture came into my head.
Read
Bam went to the Bible.
Rich.
Yes, because so she want to use all these scriptures. The Bible says, "Do not embitter your." Give me B flat. All right. The Bible says, "Do not embitter
Oh!
Wow.
your children, or they will become discouraged."
Wow.
Amen.
And she is the prime example. She has discouraged her child. Hey,
Hallelujah.
don't get me going, cause
Hallelujah.
right.
Go on, man.
That's real spit though, because the verse does, the scripture does say that. It says, honor your mother and your father, but everybody always skips over the part where it says, do not basically enrage your children or
Yeah.
don't provoke them to anger,
Yeah,
which is very
yeah.
important because you have to be mindful of children. Anyway, you obviously you
Yeah.
see what's
Exactly.
going on.
That's exactly what you have to do. And because she's been so negative to this child, I believe that she probably wanted him because he sang, so she probably wanted him to sing in the choir, maybe play the drums,
You
new
got a
songs in the
whole
choir.
back.
I got a whole
Okay,
back
go ahead.
stories.
Go ahead.
She mad at
guess-
him because
yeah.
his daddy, he wasn't around.
Never
Absolutely.
put the food in the
Absolutely.
fridge. Keep on
because,
going.
Because it's not a coincidence that he was singing "Rise and Shine, Give God the Glory." It wasn't a coincidence that he was singing. So it was something that his mom wanted him to do. He didn't want to do it because sometimes church can be boring, and so he saw his kids.
she was probably-
he
she was
saw.
probably-
He saw.
He said church can be
He
boring.
saw,
probably there
sometimes
5 nights a week.
church can't. Yeah, he was there 5 times a week, and
Joel
some,
Jones
yeah.
said, "Come on now, Bam,
And
you preaching."
and in the streets of New York, he saw other kids doing things, but he didn't want to go to Bible study. He didn't want to be on usher board. He didn't want to play drums in the choir.
Yes.
And she didn't allow him to do that. And then you are being negative to him, calling him a demon and other shit. So of
Yeah.
course he's gonna rebel against his
And
mom.
She Hate Me says Dre daddy was probably a demon then, which to your point, Dominic says Dre's
the
mother
family.
was no better than him.
Yeah.
And I definitely, that's what you're saying.
Yeah, that-
I agree
yeah.
with that. I agree.
I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, yeah. I thought maybe it started with her being embarrassed in front of the church folk because your child was stealing stuff, and the church people are very
Yeah.
Oh, so
critical.
you got a
Yeah,
story
very
too,
heavy.
huh?
I didn't gotta know. That's what she said. She
Yeah.
said he stole
y'all
the
pick the
candy
scripts?
bars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we know that, but
Yeah.
was the
But that's
was
like
she
5
embarrassed
years
for the
old.
church?
Yeah.
Church?
That's what shows how
That's
sick
just
she
my
is.
little
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
So
She was
that's
like a
just
little
my
kid.
little snippet.
Yeah.
Bam
Yeah.
went much deeper.
Yeah.
So
Whole story.
what was your thought when Dre flipped and put the gun on his mom?
I thought it'd have been power like for him to pop her.
I thought he
honestly.
was going to.
But obviously he didn't. So
I wasn't surprised that he didn't because obviously he still has some type of hurt from what she did, but it's not anger. Even though he's angry, a child still wants to be acknowledged and loved by their parent, especially if they were rejected. And that's what I felt. So I just, for whatever reason, I felt like he couldn't go through with that.
I think that it kind of proved the point that you were asking earlier, as far as like, was he being serious? Was that real? You know, him like sort of groveling, trying to get, you know, some acceptance. I feel like that for him was him changing. I mean, of course, that's his mom. I don't think he's going to shoot his mom, but him really wanting to be different and you know, turn over a new leaf. So I think maybe that has something to do with it.
I think it was more powerful that he didn't shoot her.
Me too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you guys remember Sons of Anarchy. I don't know talking about other shows, but the main character,
Oh yeah, Jack.
Jackson, shot his mom, right? Because she was so evil, right? Spoiler alert.
I'm just thinking.
The show
like,
was hella old,
did he?
though, right?
No, yeah.
Like, okay.
It was a great
So she
series,
was
though,
really,
yeah.
she always had her hands in the stuff.
Always
she was always
did.
disrupting stuff and always screwing up plans that she wasn't supposed to be involved in. So eventually he had to pop her, and everybody was on board.
Oh,
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
everybody was on board. It's like, and he hated doing it, but he had to because she ended up being responsible for the death of his mother and all this kind of stuff. Now, in Dre's situation, Dre ended up that hit it hit so hard when he had when he was holding the gun and talking to her the way he was talking to her. It hit so hard because parents, that kid's first 7 years is so vital, right? Now he's a little boy. He said, what did he say? He was 5 years old when he took the candy bar?
Yeah.
6?
5 or 6.
And then she implanted that in him.
Damon.
Right? She's called him a demon.
Yeah,
And imagine your mom, you're a little child calling you a
Not a
demon.
good
And you know the
feeling.
demon is at this point because you're at church 6 days out of the week.
And you're
right?
you're being told you're burning hell, devil. You
Exactly. So that was the fact that he, even if he shot her, it would have meant nothing to change her because her heart and her spirit wasn't gonna change
Right.
towards him.
He would have been being
So
who
he
she
was
said
just
he was.
correct,
right.
correct.
And exactly what you said, that is because I think it was so powerful. By the way, I think that was some of the best acting that we've
Oh,
seen
it was
of
amazing.
Rotimi.
From
Yeah.
both of them.
Yeah.
Both of them, yeah.
Actually.
They both did a fantastic
But
job.
Rotimi
I've never
killed
seen
it
the
in that
mama.
scene.
I've never seen her in anything else.
Yeah.
But Rotimi, as far as like his whole time on Power, I think that's some of the best acting that we've seen from him.
Yeah.
But to your point, it wouldn't have given her an opportunity to change. It would have just been that. It would have just stopped at that. So the fact that she came later on, you know, when he was locked up and was talking about, I'm going to help you, I'm going to help your daughter, you know, I'm going to make sure that she's good and you know, Tina's good as well. It sort of says, like, in some kind of way, do you still want to drag her?
You
like,
think
in
so?
the-
No, because she said
No,
that
that wasn't
spiteful,
that.
though.
She was,
Yeah,
she
she
was,
said that.
it was spiteful too.
Yeah.
But what
Talking
I'm
about the
saying is
end?
the fact,
At the
yeah.
end,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was spiteful. It was
It
like,
was spiteful. It was spiteful.
And
Like
I was
even the way
gonna-
she told the little girl to say bye to your daddy.
Yeah.
Like even that, I don't think had anything necessarily to do with him. It was still her being able to show up, though.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. And,
Yeah, but I just felt like she showed up to say, oh, you kept this daughter from me? Guess what? Now I'm going to have her forever.
but also,
you know, single mamas sometimes be acting like their sons are their boyfriend or their husband. I mean, let's talk about it.
It's real though. It's real though. It's real.
Okay, so she kind of acted
Not
like
tonight.
that when she had the daughter.
Yeah.
The daughter over there was like, "You left me, and you could have been doing this, and you could have been doing that." Like that was her whole get down, her whole attitude.
which
was
is
kind of like that.
Which is why Tina was so quick to go on board to go to the mother.
Not all
be-
single mamas, just some.
Yeah, which is
Not all.
yeah,
Right,
but which is
right.
why
This
Tina
one.
and I was gonna drag Tina earlier, but it's no point. But this, you know, Tina hopped on to the mom's side because she's able to
Relate.
relating.
but-
No,
If-
she
wait.
hopped onto the mom's side because she didn't have any money.
No,
She's
but
from-
what happened to the money? If she had
They
the money.
picked, here's
Well,
the thing.
they got to
They
remember
took it?
They got
they
got arrested. They're gonna take all
Yeah, they're
of
gonna
that.
take
She
everything.
Can't keep
She can't
any
keep
of that.
anything.
But how did they know that she had? I mean, they just gonna raid the
But-
car. I mean,
Because
Wait,
she's
wait.
sitting in the
But
car.
wait, but the question is, how the hell they get a visitor pass so quick to get to the
Right.
jail?
Because everything happens so fast.
Yeah.
it's power.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Power.
But continuing on with that, so we can continue with that scene just really quickly. So what I took from that scene is she thinks that by taking Heaven, it makes up for her being a bad parent to Dre, and therefore by her taking care of Heaven and raising her the right way, the Christian way, the things that you were defiant of doing, I'm gonna do this, and she is gonna make her feel better.
I agree with everything that you guys are saying. It has nothing to do with that. What I'm saying is, if he would have shot her, if he would have killed her, and let's not even like beat a dead horse
Yeah.
because he didn't kill
Yeah,
her. But my point is that it would have just stopped right there.
Oh,
Nothing
yeah,
more,
yeah.
nothing less. But
Yeah.
it gave even the fact that he gave her that grand speech of my daughter's name is, or your granddaughter's name is Heaven, and blah 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 blah, and I didn't bring her around. It showed her there really is a granddaughter that I have. He really does have a daughter, and it gave her an opportunity to show back up. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so now Dre's on the run. No sense
But
of
acting like this would piss me off. He was acting like he didn't just run from the feds.
Was
Yeah.
that the situation?
And like he was
knock
all up in
Blanca
the,
out with a right hook.
Right.
and like so different things. Like have old girl go up into the gas station and get you something to drink. Go have her like hide out. Be in the back seat.
no,
That's
Wait
not-
till you're in Jersey to go
Good
get
point.
like gas
Boston,
and some
right?
chips
Yeah.
and some
Good
stuff.
point.
The
Yeah.
turnpike. Then
like
come
you
up-
guys had already been in the
Y'all
car
gonna
for a
stop
couple of
in
hours.
New York?
So
Okay.
why
Down the block.
are you just now getting gas? My mother told me years ago. She says don't go to bed with your gas empty because you never know if there's some type of emergency. So I don't ever like my tank is never on empty. Never ever on empty. It's always at least on half a tank of gas. That would have there should have been no reason why they've been driving all this time
And they need to stop.
and now they need gas.
You got to remember also, Dre, deep down, does not want to leave New York.
No, he does
Yeah.
not.
He does
True.
not. So
No.
you got to understand how
True.
frequencies and energy works.
Yeah.
He did everything in his power to beat around. I said LA,
Yeah.
New York,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
stick around, getting extra money.
Yeah.
Sort
If you
like
really want to leave, and it's
sabotaging.
really about
Yeah.
your daughter,
Yeah.
he got 50K. Didn't he get 50K from somebody?
He got
100.
He got 10K from he got 10K from
much did he
Tariq,
get?
and then he
Tariq.
got 250.
No, he got 20 from. He got
No,
20.
he didn't get two.
Nah.
He got
10K from Tariq.
He only got half. So he
Half.
got 100 K
From-
from Tate.
yeah.
Okay.
So
He
he
got
got
100. He got
100.
100 from Tate.
And then he had 10,000
Yeah.
from Tariq.
So he got 100.
I thought he got 20 from Tariq.
No,
because
half
Tariq-
now.
Yeah,
Oh,
half,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so why are you still here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If your energy is really to get out of Dodge, he really should have just bounced, but he didn't want
Want to leave.
But he also, I think in his mind, he still had to pay up to Tate. That's ultimately what made him turn around in the first place. He had to pay up because
so-
he knew where he was going to be.
So
yeah, but I mean, really, plates,
Yeah.
ID. I think it was more of an excuse. It was like, because he's a street dude. You know, it was like he wants to get. He wants to get
Plus
Plus,
ghost.
he said, yeah.
I gotta
He
say
wants to
though,
get ghost.
I'm a huge film guy. Has anybody seen the film Heat?
Yes.
Robert De Niro,
Oh.
Al Pacino.
Al Pacino, yeah.
You remember when Robert De Niro was about to get out of Dodge? He said, "I got one more thing I gotta do."
Yeah.
Went back, ultimately got caught. I
Yep.
think that's the same replica thing exactly with
And
Dre.
it's the same thing with Nomar too. Before in season 1, Nomar before the pervert, before he was
Yeah.
supposed to go away, he had to go see that little child, and Tommy went and got him and killed him.
Yeah.
But so we mentioned that Dre hit Blanca. Do you think that was a smart thing to do for him to punch her? Why didn't he kill her? Or what's your thoughts on?
I think he just wanted to get out of there.
He
Yeah,
was
I
just
think
trying to go.
I gotta go.
Because he knew
First reaction.
There's,
Now, some people question with Dre always thinking that he's so smart, how come he didn't try and twist it around like, oh my God, how come he didn't try and turn it around being, no? That makes sense?
No,
Okay.
you're at the crime scene.
Yeah.
Someone just got shot.
The
You're running out
only
of the
thing-
building.
Right. The
You know, yeah.
only thing that I thought about is that, but you don't have no gun residue on your hands. You do have a
Exactly.
gun.
Forensics
so,
would've-
yeah, would have cleared,
Yeah.
but, he had already escaped. He
Okay,
had
but
to
from
do
the
that.
writer's perspective, they knew he was dying this
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
So why
Absolutely,
do
yeah.
all the extra stuff? You know what I'm saying?
So then the question is, once he got, once he got arrested at the City Express gas station, who do you think it was who ratted him out? Was it Tate?
Blanca.
Blanca?
I mean, here's the thing. They were
Dre
already looking.
did see Tommy.
No, here's the thing. We don't know if he really saw Tommy. Was that
Right,
a figment of his
we don't know if he
imagination?
was-
Yeah.
But one of the things is he just escaped custody. Well, not custody, his federal escorts. So that means he's on the run from the program. There's any number of reasons why they could have, why they were already looking for him. Now, how they found him so quickly, I'm like, did he forget to change the plates on the car? I don't know.
I mean, but maybe when we see Tate's story, they come and question him.
Yeah.
Could have been
Yeah.
Tate.
And it's like
Yeah,
Tate is
AO.
like dimes him out. It's like
Exactly.
they're looking for this fool. He doesn't even keep his stuff clean. Let me go ahead and dump this fool out. Type of situation. Because again, he did escape Woodsack, right?
Yep.
Which was way earlier.
Yeah.
So they've been looking for this fool all day, or however long it was, right?
Yeah, it was nighttime, yeah.
Yeah.
We
so,
did forget that Deandra Temple, she says he took them jewels. I forgot he took his mom's jewels. So I guess
thought about that
that's,
too.
Yeah.
What's
You
he
know,
gonna do,
that's
con
about
him?
Yeah.
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 Yep.
Do you think his mom?
That was actually the first thing.
Do you think his mom
might've-
in some sort of way, ratted him out?
But I thought she might have called the police, maybe, but she didn't know where he was going, so I don't know how much, you know.
Okay, so he's back in jail for good this time. So before we get to the murder, so now let's go a little bit into the Tubit. So Tubit is named as Francis Johnson, and the other Spanky.
Spotwood
Yeah,
Richards.
Spicewood.
Yeah, Spotwood Richards.
Spicewood.
So
Spot.
Look it up.
Spotwood or
it was
Spotwood?
it was
Spotwood.
Spotwood.
It's the judge's.
Yeah.
Oh,
something
Spotwood. I thought it was
Yeah.
Spicewood. Okay.
So we see them back and forth. We see them going back and forth, and they got the burner phone. So we obviously know that Ghost wanted them to kill, and then once Dre got out, then they called Tommy, who they wanted to let know Dre did it, but Tommy was like, I can't trust anybody at this point. So have a
Somebody
nice
put a body on it.
20 years.
You know what's crazy to me? How did he know that? I mean, of course, we're gonna find out in his episode, but it just seems really strange to me. Spanky snitched. Tommy already knows that they're looking
knows.
for at him for that murder. It seemed
Yeah.
really quick, but
Things move real
Again.
fast this episode.
again, because that's a matter of hours, maybe.
Yeah.
But
Well, see, here's the thing was you noticed that Francis, Tubit
Figured it out, yeah.
Tubit wasn't sold that Tommy, it was the one that ratted them out. Whereas
True.
Spanky
Right, yep.
was
That's
leaning
yes.
more towards.
Yep.
I think Tommy's the
Tommy.
one that ratted us out,
Yeah.
which is why he did that. He was like, but Tubit is like, well, even if he did rat us out, we handled it a different kind of way.
when he was in with Blanca and he was getting Spanky was getting his final processing out, and she was like, oh, your friend, what's gonna happen to him? And Spanky was like, oh, he's a gangster, he'll never talk. And she was like, what does that make you? And he said, a free man. And
I
to
thought that
me,
was funny, right?
That was funny.
It was great, but
That was
that's the
funny,
bottom
right.
line. Whether he snitched or not, when they hit him with third strike, you gonna be in. And he was like,
Energy
why?
completely changed.
Yeah,
he's
why?
like,
I
whoa.
think he was just like, you know what?
Over what? He's probably
Yeah.
like trying to process.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't do that.
So, we talked about things that you may do.
And-
I mean,
yeah.
I wouldn't involve myself in that situation, but under those circumstances.
But if you
Possibly.
think back when they mentioned that Spanky was on 2 strikes, the way that he was questioning Tubit and talking about his anger and his negativity, you can already tell that he was in his mind. He was already thinking because he did not want to go. He didn't want to be in jail for 20, 30 years. So it made sense. I was happy to see that Spanky has more camera time in the future. I was really happy. Now, do you think that Spanky is going to die when we get to
I don't think so.
Tommy's story? I think.
I don't
14?
think he'll have time to deal with that. I don't think so. But I do think it's a problem that Tubit recognizes that Spanky snitched.
I like. Why else would they put this whole storyline of him snitching if he's not gonna get served up for snitching?
Because he may be in the Power Book 2 with Tommy.
I just feel
this
like
could
it's 20.
be, but
I
Does
just feel
Tommy
like
really have time to be trying
that's
to
what
hunt?
I'm
Yeah,
saying.
and
I
he
feel like
just-
if
and
we're
he
going
just found
back
out that
over
Black
the
Grimm has
24
died.
hours,
Yeah.
But maybe not now. But
But
do you in
at
the
some
future?
point?
At some point, like everybody gets dealt with at some
Right.
point.
Somewhere down the line. though.
Somewhere down the line,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, even if it is
The
Power
streets
Book
don't
2
forget.
or whatever.
Indeed.
Yeah, I mean, because that's still something we got to remember. Tommy he's apparently feeling some heat from that. Somebody
Yeah.
is on him about this murder,
Right.
and so they brought that up for a reason. You know what I'm saying?
And so Spanky and Tubit, they hold to Ghost's word, although we don't know if Ghost is alive or dead. So I thought it was pretty symbolic the way he died. What you think?
Yeah, symbolic like how? Oh,
Because
going
he
to hell.
burned up.
Hell,
Like,
yeah,
I mean,
uh-huh.
it fit with the episode. You're a demon. You're going up by fiery flames in your
okay.
cell. I saw someone was saying, "Oh, how did they get gasoline in the jail? That could have been cleaning supplies." You see, Spanky
Yes.
was on cleaning.
Yeah,
duty,
yeah.
so-
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
looking a little
Random
bit
thing.
deep. But
Yeah.
I mean, at the
Yeah.
same time, how do they get burners in there? How to get
Yeah,
everything
there's
else?
a lot of
It's like-
Everything
things.
else.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's
guards
yeah.
are.
There's
guards
an
are
underworld.
paid off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is an
Guards don't make that
Underworld
much money
market.
for the state.
Right.
So he burns up. Okay, so guys, on our very lovely IG page,
Power After the Plug.
Yes,
So
sir.
I started asking, who do you guys think killed Ghost or shot Ghost rather? Who shot Ghost? And so everybody had all these different things that they wanted to say, and majority of the people thought who?
Tariq.
Tariq. So,
okay.
I mean, do you guys really think, is going back to when Tariq went over to Dre to ask about the gun, did they bring that up for a reason? Because they didn't do anything else with that in the whole episode. Did they bring it up for a reason?
I think it was brought up to sow intent to make you kind of wonder and waver. Tariq was the only one shown without a gun, walking away. Yes, that's our lovely.
That is our lovely
Afterplug
page.
Instagram page. I think that if Tariq did it, I don't think he shot. I think that there might be another alliance. That's just my opinion.
Yes.
You know.
So, okay, so since we're seeing everyone's perspectives, so there's Blanca's, not Blanca, there's Paz's perspective, and then after that, that leaves us with three more. There leaves us with
Tasha.
With
Something's
but
gonna be doubled up.
But
Somebody-
Tasha, probably a long drink for that one because I don't. There's what
I
I
agree.
think
I
I
don't
do
think
too.
she has enough of a. We don't care enough to have an entire episode of her perspective.
I think it's going to be doubled up.
I think so too.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's
Sachs
and
or
Cooper
something
and
else or
and then that way they'll do Tariq, Tommy, and then Tasha. Sorry. Yeah.
All right.
That's what we think.
Yeah. But predictions. What do you guys think?
Hit it, Jimmy.
Honestly, I just hope the next episode is better than this last.
So you
one.
really weren't feeling this episode
I
at all?
wasn't. It felt awkward to me. I did not like the timing of it, the movement of it. That's all.
I think that just after that long of a break and how you were anticipating who shot Ghost, it felt like some mid. I enjoyed the episode, but when you think about what you're coming off of into this and the break, it just kind of felt like.
Really, like, they had me hyped up on some, this is about to get real. And then I got hit with that.
But see, I guess for me, because like I said, I don't really care who killed Ghost. To me, the show is over. I'm done. But I made this commitment, so I'm going to stick it
You're
out.
just here for the conversation. and the
That's it. I'm here for the
camaraderie.
conversation, pretty much. But I don't care who killed Ghost. So, like, if he's alive, when we see that he's been shot in the heart, like, that shit's like...
Maybe he got,
You're over with
because he was a political candidate, maybe he's in witness protection. I'm just throwing out there things that I saw. I don't know. If
Yeah, so...
Well, my prediction is that Tariq is involved, Tommy may be involved, and Tasha may be involved. And then that's all I got right now.
Yeah, I don't have much. I do think that, because it's the final betrayal, so it has to be some collaboration or one of those three.
That is, you have a prediction?
Predictions. You know, it's kind of hard to tell, to be quite honest with you. I kind of want to just be entertained because I wasn't expecting to want to see the last five episodes. I was like hell bent, like, if Ghost dies, I'm done with the show. I don't care what episode it happens. I'm never watching it again, type of thing. Because I felt like the show revolved around him and Tasha, basically. So, you know, we'll just have to see. Now that I've seen this episode, I think the way they've written it is somewhat interesting, especially since this seems sped up a little bit. But they're working it out. Again, whoever did it, I felt is close enough to get the drop on Ghost, because no one's ever really got the drop on Ghost. That's why it's called Ghost.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So it has to be like Tariq or Tasha. And plus, Tariq or Tasha didn't seem emotional. Ghost just got killed, and neither one of them seemed like phased.
When?
Well, we haven't seen them. We haven't seen them, remember?
Those are if you're talking about the teasers, those are just promos.
Yeah,
They're not
yeah,
in the
yeah.
show.
No, wait. What I'm thinking of is, okay, so wait. When Tariq went to go
Beforehand?
ask for the gun,
That was before.
that was before.
That was
You're
before,
right.
yeah.
That was before. Okay. All right. So we have to see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
My bad.
I was like, you seen something that I haven't
Right.
seen?
What's up?
The hookup.
Yeah, tell me, bro.
Yeah, maybe I'm
side
mixing
of
my
the
sense
room.
up. My bad.
Okay,
well,
Bam.
I won't give a prediction because I kind of opened my mouth, so I'm not gonna say much. But all I could tell you is stay tuned, because although, like I said, the whole Who Shot Ghost I think is corny, but I am curious to see how this. I'm curious for you guys to see how this pans out.
Curious for us.
Curious
you're
for
so
you
sweet,
guys.
man.
He's
Tell them where they can find you,
Thank
Jimmy.
so much.
Y'all
Bam.
can find me at
Thank you.
@TheJimmyV. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. We appreciate y'all for coming back in this 2020 year. Let's keep this ball rolling, man.
You know, and I wanted to talk to y'all more. I wanted to say some names and thank you guys as well. But thank you, Jimmy, for mentioning that to everybody in the chat room.
Drop
hey,
like,
Joel and Nicole and Miss Lily and AJ, Corey,
AJ Lou.
Nicole, Marcus, Eddie Nelson,
Trinity boy, what's
Trinity boy,
poppin'?
Yeah, Reed Dollar, all of y'all. Kwame, what up?
Appreciate
Rob
y'all
B.
checking in every week.
And so listen, continue the conversation here as well as our Instagram page, which is Power After Plug, and you can reach me at Robin Ayers on all social media.
I'm Jill Monroe at Stiletto Jill. Holla.
And you can find me on all social media at Bam Erickson. Also, last time when we were here, I mentioned how I had a movie out. Well, the movie is out. It's called Uncle Ed's Bucket List. You guys can check it out on the website, uncleedsfilm.com. And if anyone watches a movie, you guys DM me, show me proof of a purchase, I will send you a Uncle Ed's Bucket List t-shirt.
Hey.
Get
Free
that
merch.
Get that merch.
And we want to thank our special guest, the man who is responsible for the Power After Show here at
The one
AfterBuzz
and
TV.
only
So
Thaddeus.
thank you, Thaddeus
Guys.
Massey,
We
for
appreciate you.
filling in with us and just chatting with us. People have been asking about you. Ironically, once we planned for you to come, people were like, "What happened to Thaddeus?" And I was like, "Oh wow, interesting." Yeah.
We appreciate you coming.
And next week, the writer for episode 12, Monica Mitchell, will be joining us
Nice.
in studio. So
Yeah.
make sure you guys tune in. I'm sure you guys are going to have a bunch of questions. So we want to thank you guys for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV for Power After Show. Thank you.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.